Hello and welcome. Thank you for watching Westferry Times. Today we're doing a deep dive into something really pressing, mental well-being, burnout, especially with remote work and everything post-pandemic. We've looked at some fascinating research you shared, really highlighting these pressures. So our mission is to unpack it all.
Yeah, it's definitely a timely conversation. The landscape of work and life really has shifted so much.
It really has. And we're thrilled to have Dr. Jason Reed with us today, a clinical psychologist, speaker, really an advocate for workplace wellness. Thanks for joining this deep dive.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Glad to be digging into this.
Great. So let's start with burnout. Based on the materials, how should we understand it? What are like the core signs?
Okay, so the consistent thread in the research is that burnout stems from chronic workplace stress. Stress that just hasn't been managed effectively.
Okay, chronic stress.
Right. And it usually shows up in three main ways. First, there's this deep emotional exhaustion, just feeling totally drained. Second, you get this sense of cynicism or detachment, kind of feeling disconnected from your job, maybe even the people you work with.
Right, like going through the motions.
Exactly. And the third piece is a feeling of ineffectiveness. Like what you're doing doesn't really matter or make a difference.
Oof. That last one sounds tough. And it seems, from what we read, that remote work is a big factor here. It started as a plus, but now...
It's a real paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your sources highlighted this well. The flexibility is great, but the lines between work and home have gotten incredibly blurry.
Totally.
That physical commute used to create a natural buffer, a transition. Without it, work just sort of seeps into personal time.
Yeah, I know I've caught myself answering emails really late just because the laptop's right there. It feels like you're never really off.
Precisely. And that always-on feeling leads to cognitive overload. Our brains, they genuinely need downtime to process and just rest.
Makes sense.
When you erase those boundaries, you lose that essential recovery time, making burnout much more likely.
So, drawing from the research, what can people actually do, especially those working remotely, to get some boundaries back?
Well, being intentional is key. The sources stressed creating physical boundaries, if possible, like a dedicated workspace you can mentally leave.
Okay, like closing the door, literally or figuratively.
Yes. And setting clear start and end times. Maybe even using phone alarms as cues.
Yeah.
It sounds simple, but it helps structure the day.
Right.
And don't forget connection. Scheduling social time, virtual or face-to-face, is crucial. We need that interaction. One source even mentioned fake commutes.
Fake commutes, like a walk.
Yeah, like taking a walk before you start work and right after you finish.
Yeah.
Just to create that mental separation.
That's a neat idea. Now, switching gears a bit, the materials also talked a lot about Gen Z entering the workforce now. They seem to carry a different kind of weight.
It's a really interesting point. The research suggests their upbringing was just different. Think about it. Constant social media, economic uncertainty, climate anxiety, global instability.
It's a lot.
So they often come in with maybe a higher baseline level of stress or perhaps awareness of these big pressures. And then entering work remotely adds another layer.
So how does remote work maybe hit them differently? The articles touched on this.
A big concern is missing out on that organic professional socialization. Learning the ropes informally.
Right.
Things like finding a mentor naturally, just absorbing the office culture, figuring out workplace dynamics. That's much harder remotely.
Yeah, I remember reading about how you miss just overhearing things, learning how people handle stuff, the unspoken rules.
Exactly, that unspoken curriculum. And without it, younger employees can feel isolated, maybe even invisible, and unsure about how to grow professionally. The sources definitely pointed to that.
So what did the research suggest for leaders or companies? How can they support Gen Z better in this environment?
Intentionality again. Things like structured mentorship programs are huge, making it okay to take mental health days, really normalizing that, and fostering psychological safety, creating a space where it's okay to not be okay, to ask questions. Really, it's about humanizing the workplace, especially when you lack that physical presence.
Makes sense. Another big theme was this post-pandemic fatigue. It's 2025 now. Shouldn't we kind of be over it? What did the sources say about why it lingers?
That's a common thought, but the research is pretty clear. Trauma doesn't really follow a news cycle or a calendar. Our nervous systems went through a lot. Collective trauma, individual stresses, the constant adaptation. It takes time to recover from that cumulative impact. We're still processing.
It does feel like we're functioning, but maybe not really thriving, sort of a low-level survival mode sometimes.
That's a very accurate way to describe it for many,
Yeah.
survival mode. And as the materials suggested, the pandemic piled onto other existing stressors. It's layered, and those layers need active processing to heal.
So what does that healing look like practically? What steps were highlighted?
Several things. Therapy or coaching, if it's accessible, is obviously a powerful tool.
Yeah.
But also incorporating mindfulness practices, even brief ones, to help calm the nervous system. Prioritizing real community connection is vital too, fighting that isolation.
Connection, right.
And importantly, allowing ourselves to rest, truly rest, without feeling guilty about it. That came up repeatedly.
Letting go of the guilt, that's big. Okay, the sources also busted some myths. Can we do a quick round? First one, remote workers have it easier.
Myth. Definitely a myth. They face different challenges, boundary issues, isolation potential. Not easier, just different stressors.
Okay, myth two, burnout means you're weak.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
The research frames it as a systemic issue, a response to overwhelming chronic workplace stress. It's not about individual resilience failing.
Got it. Systemic, not personal failing. And myth three, Gen Z is too sensitive.
Yeah, that's often unfair. The materials suggest they're adapting to a uniquely challenging world. Their desire for better work-life integration isn't sensitivity, it's often a necessary adaptation, especially with maybe less workplace support built in.
Adapting, not overly sensitive. Good distinction. This has been so insightful. To kind of pull it together based on everything we've discussed from the research, what's a practical starting point for listeners to check in on themselves?
Self-awareness is step one. The research suggests asking yourself some honest questions regularly, like, am I actually excited about anything at work right now?
Okay.
Am I feeling physically and emotionally wiped out most days?
Yeah.
Am I pulling back from people or things I usually enjoy? Am I finding myself less patient or empathetic?
Those are really direct, helpful questions. And beyond checking in, what about building that sort of mental health toolkit the sources mentioned?
Yeah, think about what resources work for you, what helps you reset. It could be a specific playlist you love,
Music, yeah.
or maybe a simple breathing technique you can use anywhere. Knowing, say, 3 trusted people you could actually call or text if you're struggling.
Having those names ready.
Yeah. Exactly. And maybe developing a personal ritual to consciously end your workday. Something that signals done. Could be anything, changing clothes, going for that walk, listening to a specific podcast.
Creating a ritual. I like that. This has been incredibly helpful. Thank you for walking us through all these insights from the materials.
It was my pleasure. And
Yeah.
really, the message for everyone listening is if you're feeling these things, the burnout, the fatigue, the stress, it's okay. It's a human response to really demanding times. Doesn't mean you're broken or lazy.
That's such an important point. It means you're human. Well, thank you again. And to all of you listening to this deep dive, we really hope exploring these materials offered some useful perspective and maybe some concrete ideas. If you found it helpful, please consider sharing it. Thank you for watching Westferry Times. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Goodbye for now.